This review is later than usual, and that, well, once again are reasons that are beyond my control. Or maybe this time it was in my control, I just forgot. Either way, the angry anime fan, the despair reviewer, here to bring you Ducktales, woohoo! Or how do you say it? Ducktales, woohoo! Whatever. With a different tune opening this time. It's DuckTales singing is actually not the entire theme though, but the song is actually sung in a Christmas jingle like in this episode. And the Angry Anime Fan here to bring you that episode of Season 2, Episode 6, Last Christmas, actually gives us the first episode where we see Della in more than just a cameo role. And also, I'm not gonna say nice callback, because after all I have always despised that voice, but hey, it's what it is. In this episode, Scrooge seems to be the Scrooge of Christmas, but it turns out that no, Scrooge doesn't really hate Christmas. It's just that seeing that he has so many responsibilities over the years, including the fact that he saves the world a lot. Mentioned something about a creature of that and that. Scrooge always wants to have a Christmas to himself because, well, he needs to have a break every now and again. So he hangs out with the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, who comes to see him every year because apparently they got a case of mistaken identity. Once upon a time, they were supposed to get to a different Scrooge, but they liked the Scrooge McDuck more, so they hang with him every year, and they travel to the past where he got to relive his most moments. And yes, it's indeed a very nice twist of it all, as Scrooge does indeed travel to the past, and we see some kind of nice moments of it all. Especially of the fact that once upon a time Scrooge did have a Christmas party where Agent 22, aka Beakley, liked to dance, and even invited Goldie for some reason. I guess in the end he could never truly let go of the flame, but it is what it is. So and this episode does in the end seem to imply that Scrooge learns that, well, yeah, it's always nice to travel to the past, but present is also best. So he goes to Christmas past, takes him back, but the past has become so attached to Scrooge because, well, he always teaches Scrooge's the lesson of Christmas, and they never revisit him. But Scrooge McDuck did, so they travel back there. Unfortunately, though, Scrooge managed to outsmart the past and take his time-traveling umbrella and travels back to the room. It's during that same room where he met Dewey earlier this episode, who actually finds out that Scrooge do not dislike Christmas. But there's one thing here that is in this episode that is funny, but also not so funny, is the fact that this is a Christmas episode. In a way, it would have been a perfect reveal to finally show why does Scrooge hates Santa, because while he doesn't hate Christmas, he still hates Santa. And we still have no explanation of why he hates Santa. I mean, I guess it makes sense, it's a nodal joke, so therefore it's not meant to be brought up again. But I still wonder if we ever find out why Scrooge hates Santa. It seems to imply that Santa really does exist in this universe. So hey, just give us an answer, really. So Dewey takes the umbrella and travels back to the past with the other spirits, where he lands in actually the timeline when, I think the same timeline Scrooge was in before. But this time he meets up with a young Donald, but I was also looking for his young mother, young Della Duck. And also here's the thing, what I said I didn't like the voice. Funny thing here is that a young Donald is voiced by Russi Taylor, who actually voiced the triplets in the original Ducktales series, as a nice casting gag. But I never liked that voice, but it is what it is. Seems to imply that Donald in his youth was more of an emo guy who liked to practice his guitar. Whatever he was good, he doesn't know. While Della always were outside camping trying to capture Santa Claus. But it's also revealed one of the reasons why he wanted to know, I mean, why she wanted to uh, capture Santa Claus. She also wanted to do it together with Donald, suggesting that Della wanted Donald to learn a little bit more that family is more important than being just so emo. However, Donald didn't learn that lesson until, Dewey, who walks together with Donald and gets captured, and then they be pursued by a monster called Wendigo, realizes that Della only wanted Donald to go hunt Santa Claus together with her. So it's so in the end they learn that, and together the McDuck family do indeed destroy the Wendigo. But before he parts with Della and Donald, they actually reveal that they know that Dewey is a relative from the future. Because earlier when Dewey met Donald, he tried to pull up a very bad lie that he was a distant relatives from, another part of the family. But they actually all knew that Dewey was a relative from the future. Dewey is tempted to reveal the future, but both Donald and Della stops him, saying that you can mess up the timeline, also implying that haven't you seen any movie, which is actually is what it is. So this episode does show a little bit how Della and Donald grew up together as twins. They were not always as close, especially since Donald always called Della Dumbella. But I guess it makes sense seeing that Donald was more of an emo teen in the past of it all. So in the end, it's not what it is. But thanks to Dewey, they managed to get closer. But it's during that time that present Scrooge traveled back into the future to find Dewey. As soon as Della and Donald goes back into the house, that is. Actually, the reason why they knew that Dewey was a relative from the future is because they are the McDuck family, and they have been, having some weird Christmases. Another noodle incident joke. The fourth weirdest thing that ever happened to him. And then when Scrooge lands in the present again, he destroys the Wendigo, who actually turns out to be a manifestation of the Christmas past, because when Scrooge defeated not defeated, but when Scrooge outsmarted the past and took his time umbrella, the past got mad from isolation and loneliness that it turned into Wendigo, a vengeful Christmas spirit, realizing that even though he wanted to return to the to the present, he also seemed to not help his new friend, the past, to do one thing more. So in the end, they all get together in the present with a wonderful Christmas song, and it seems that Launchpad even can sing way more than Scrooge can. And with that, the Christmas special ends, but not before we see Della Duck on the moon, still wishing them all a Merry Christmas and working on things on the moon. Seems to include she has a base, although still there is still no explanation, mind you, on how Della can breathe in space. Unless, of course, she's inside some kind of object, with oxygen. It seems to imply, unless it's because of that, this episode seems to imply that she can breathe in space. And while I'm all for cartoon logic, I also want to know why. Why can't she breathe in space? This must be some kind of magic-like thing. So at least give us an explanation on that. So, the biggest problem with this episode is the fact that this could have been a good episode to show Scrooge's beef with Santa, but so far that is just one big joke. But it did show Della Duck, so I guess that is, in a way, pretty good. And it's also pretty funny to see the past of Scrooge a little bit. Uh, so yeah, I mean, a 7 out of 10 for me. Maybe not the best Christmas special, but it certainly channels the Christmas spirit of learning from mistake. In the end, it wasn't Scrooge who learned, it was a past Donald who learned to love his family a little bit more. And maybe that's how he became the man he is today. So, yeah, it's uh, it's a really wonderful mess. Also, the Ghost of Christmas Past is voiced by Jack McBrayer, from 30 Rock, the happy-go-lucky guy that I still don't really understand about until the truth is revealed. So yeah, give me your thoughts if you have any.